What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be about credit utilization. What is it? I get this question a lot. I want to talk about a lot of different things. I want to talk about credit utilization as far as the definition of it, the percentage credit utilization has as far as an effect on your credit score in total. Also, a difference between like a credit card and a charge card when it comes to credit utilization and how it's calculated. So that's going to be a really good video because I get this question a lot and it really depends on the situation. So let's get right into this video. Make sure you smash that like and subscribe button if you know this video is going to be good, because all the other videos I give to you guys are good too. Let's get right into this video. All right, so welcome back to the channel. So first, for people who don't know what credit utilization is, let's get right into exactly what it is. Let's give you guys a definition. So I'm not going to give you like an official definition, but I'm going to kind of just make it as simple and sweet as possible. It's pretty much the amount that you owe lenders in total, or a specific, total lender, or in total all your lenders, versus the amount that you have outstanding. So let's break it up even simpler. So let's say I have a credit amount total through all of my cards, not just one, but all of the credit cards I have. And if it's just one credit card, then it's just one. But let's say I have 10. So total, I have in total, if you add 3,000, say one card's 3,000, one card's 7,000 limit, one card's 5,000 limit. Let's just say it adds up, right? Let's just say it adds up to $50,000 in credit available for me to use at any given time. It's going to be, and let's say I've only spent through all of that, I only have $2,000 that I've spent, okay? So it's gonna be the amount, which is 2,000, versus the amount that I have to use, okay? That's pretty much what credit utilization is. Just taking the amount that you actually have spent versus the amount that you have in total. So what we're gonna do for you in this instance is we're gonna do some quick math and stuff like that. So that's pretty much what credit utilization is. It's really short and sweet. All right, so what I'm gonna do at this point, I'm gonna give you guys a screenshot of the calculator I'm gonna use right now with you guys. So let's say I have $50,000, right? And with that $50,000, I've only spent $2,000, okay? So typically credit utilization, it comes, and a lot of the experts say you want to be under 30%, though no more than 30% total that you've used out of all your money. So like I said, if I got $50,000 right there that I'm showing you, no more than 30%. The easiest way to calculate that is if I got $50,000, I'm going to multiply that. I'm going to take that 30%, give you a little math class right here. I'm going to put 0.30. That's going to equivalent to 30%. Okay, so $50,000 times 0.30 for 30%. I don't want to spend no more than 15, or have a balance total of no more than $15,000 through all of my cards. Now that's extremely high, but that's because this person right here in this situation has $50,000 to use. You'll see the difference between somebody who has 50,000 versus somebody who has, let's say, 10,000, right? So we're going to do 10,000 times I just did divide, my bad. Let's try that again. So times 0.30. This person can only spend 3,000 at any given time versus the person with 50,000 can only spend 15. Okay, so that's a big difference. It's both 30%, but depending on the amount of money that you have or don't have available to you, it's going to make a difference of how much you should spend or shouldn't. Now again, 30% is what experts use. I'm more so, I want to be better than the average. Let's really challenge yourself. Let's try to be as low as possible. So what I always tell people, friends, family, people who ask me questions on YouTube, let's try to do 20%, because we want to be better than the average, right? We want to have better than average credit. So let's say if you got $50,000 to use total times 0.20, I only want you guys spending no more than 10,000 at any given time. That's extremely high. So let's kind of lower that down to some so typically, I've seen, let's just do 10,000 for the example. So this is pretty easy. No more than $2,000 at a time to spend. That's how it's calculated, okay? That's pretty much it. 20% is my tool that I use. And again, 20% is what when I first started getting my credit, that's what I did. It was 20%. It wasn't no 30%. Sometimes it was 1%. Sometimes it was 0%. The lower the percentage that you're using is the better, okay? 30%, don't get stuck up on that, especially when you're just starting to build, just as low as you can, 5%, 1%, 1.25, I don't know, just whatever you want, but anything closer to zero is better, but I'm recommending no more than 20%. If you want to be the average, okay, 30% is okay, it's not gonna hurt you, but I want you to do like 20 and lower. As close to zero as possible. If you can do zero, then perfect. All right, so that's what you want to do. That's how credit utilization is calculated. It's not all of the credit. It's not just one credit card that's calculated for utilization. It's the total of revolving credit that you have each month, and it gives you that percentage. So that's that. Now, when it comes to the credit chart, the FICO score chart, I'm using this. This is courtesy of the Lenders Network from what I'm looking at right here. Just kind of putting it out there that this is not my chart that I made. This is copyrighted. This is, this is them. Okay, so I'm going to put their name right there. But when it comes to this, pretty much what you're going to do is you're going to see the chart. Now, typically, you got 35%, 30%, 10%, 15%, and 10%. Okay, amounts owed, or AKA credit utilization, is going to be amounts owed. Okay, so that pretty much is the second highest factor on your credit score. So that means you really got to be like on top of this. This is not like a credit inquiry where you can, do as many inquiries as you want to, and it's like one of the smallest, like 10%. Okay, that's not, 10% versus the 30% is big. Okay, so after, obviously payment history is most important. Credit utilization is second. So that's 30% of your FICO score. So you really want to make sure, credit utilization is one of your top priorities. As far as, obviously, you want to make sure you pay your bills on time, but you also want to make sure your bills are never too high, because that has a 30% of the 100% of your score. Okay, so that's really, really big. Just make sure you are, again, under that 20%, closer to zero as possible. And if we're not there, let's do it exactly what we got to do to get there. Now, there seems to be some type of confusion, typically when it comes to how charge cards versus credit cards affect credit utilization. Okay, so a traditional credit card gives you a limit every month of revolving credit, okay? And you know what that limit is every month, right? So hey, I have a $1,000 credit limit. I don't want to spend no more, because of what Maestro told you, no more than $200 per month on it at any given time, okay? Or $300, or closer to zero, whatever one you want to do, okay? So that's a traditional credit card. You know what your limit is every month. It's $1,000, and typically you really don't want to get anywhere close to $1,000, obviously, but you can't go over $1,000 most of the time. Charge cards, which are now only American Express cards, you have the Amex Platinum, the Amex Gold, the Amex Green. These cards give you a no preset spending limit, and that does not mean that you have an unlimited amount of credit. You can go with your Amex Platinum card and go spend something for $1 million. Now, based on certain circumstances and factors that American Express maybe uses, what they are, I don't know. If you're somebody who spends $1 million every day or every month or something, you may be able to pull that off. But for the normal people like myself, I can't just go swipe and spend $1 million. Okay, so it's no preset spending limit does not mean no limit at all. It does sound cool though, when you can be like, hey, I think the most they said I could use when I pressed the button on the Amex app was about $50,000 at any given time. So just to know that I can spend $50,000 today, it's pretty awesome, but I got to pay it back in about the next month. So that's the downside, right? So the charge card credit utilization does not affect it. And the reason it does not affect, it's not reported to credit bureaus because there's no preset spending limit, which is a plus for Amex Platinum card or any Amex charge card. That's actually a pro. Because there is no limit, the Amex cannot report the credit limit, right? So they can't give you a credit utilization rate. It's gonna always be zero, and anything times zero is gonna be zero. So that's where the really pro as far as having the charge card is, again, because there is no preset spending limit, aka no credit utilization. It's gonna be affected. So you can really spend some money on here, rack up your points, and just know that your credit utilization is not going to be reported. Now, your highest balance, if I'm not mistaken, is reported, your highest balance. So, you obviously want to make sure you're still being responsible, obviously paying on time. But credit utilization when it comes to charge cards does not exist because there has to be a credit limit for them to do the math on. If you have no credit limit, 0 times 0 is going to be 0. So hopefully that answered your question as far as credit utilization. Again, you want to stay no more than a 20%. If you want to be regular, 30%, 20%, but my ideal is the lower you can be to 0 is the best. American Express charge cards, the platinum, the gold, the green, the Centurion, those don't apply to credit utilization. If you check like apps like Credit Karma and things like that, you can actually see nothing is being reported for credit utilization for those because they have no credit limit to go off of, if that makes sense. So if you found this video helpful, definitely give me a thumbs up. I really wanted to break this down because I get this question all the time from families, family, friends, and a whole bunch of people on YouTube. So hopefully that really cleared the air with that. If you have any suggestions, any tips or anything, let me know. And make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Have a good one.